Hello, I am Tato Cat and welcome to my channel. Today we are playing Cabin Fever. Last time we worked with Mallory. She didn't burn food this time. Now we're eating chickens. We also found out she was from the city, but most importantly, chickens. Alright, let's continue. She seemed so excited as we made our way over to the chicken coop. For a moment I even thought I saw a spring in her step, but then I realized it was just her limp. Was the aspirin she'd taken wearing off already? Let's be honest, aspirin is not that great. I used to be able to take aspirin, and when I did, it was not that effective. Oh, they sound so cute. The chickens clucked with extra enthusiasm when they saw that I had company. When I opened the door to their fenced-in area, some of them flapped their wings furiously, sending feathers flying and making Mallory laugh.
For as long as they've been alive, I've been alone. So they're either happy for me or scared of you. Not sure.
Probably both. I pulled the gate shut behind us. Mallory was already saying hello to each individual chicken, giving them compliments and asking them how they were enjoying the morning. Then she saw the chicks and she gasped, "Babies!" Not gonna lie, that would be my reaction.
Did I not mention that? Yeah, they hatched a few days ago. You can pick them up if you want.
She looked up at me with her eyes doing that shimmery, sparkly thing again. I saw there were tears there, and I thought, or hoped, that they were tears of joy.
They're so cute! Are you sure I can touch them? It looks like they'll break, they're so tiny.
Funny, that was exactly how I felt about her.
They'll be okay. Just gently scoop them up into your hands.
Okay.
Oh, they are so cute. Look at this one. This is a cute one. Look at this one. This one looks like it's judgmental, but also cute. She carefully held out her hands. Some of the chickens came closer, investigating her, and it didn't take long before a couple of them volunteered to step onto her palms. Mallory let out a small squeak and lifted the chicks up to her face. The chicks reciprocated with their own happy peeping noises, dancing in her hands as she stroked their golden down with a single fingertip.
They're so soft. I love them.
I believed her. It was weird. I couldn't fathom loving something so easily or so quickly, but Mallory did. And I had a hunch she'd have taken a bullet for those baby chicks.
Oh, sorry about the smell, by the way. I'm used to it, so I guess I forget that coops can get pretty smelly.
I don't find it bad at all.
She continued to pet and play with the little chicks. The whole scene was just too precious.
Do you want to feed them? There's a bag of grain just behind you.
I don't know how her dress manages to stay like that. She looked over her shoulder, smiling, and gently set down the chicks so that she could reach for the bag. She took out a small handful of grain and scattered it in front of her. The chicks started to eat, and soon the adult hens came to join them. All the chickens loved Mallory. They nibbled at her dress and danced around her as she fed them. The cooking intensified with every handful of grain, becoming so loud that Mallory started to laugh.
They're so happy.
I nodded.
I try to give them a good life, even if it's only a short one.
Huh? What do you mean?
Oh, she didn't think about the fact that we might kill them to eat them. Oh no. Why did I say that? What should I say next? She is from the city, although, you know, I'm not a fan of that thought either. Change the subject, answer honestly. Lying is never good. We should probably answer her honestly.
Well, some of these chicks will grow up into egg layers, so that we can eat things like that amazing omelet you made this morning. And others will be butchered for meat.
Oh no, did I do wrong? She stared at me. Then she looked away, and those were definitely not tears of joy in her eyes, not anymore. She petted another baby chick, but this time her hand was trembling. I felt pretty bad in that moment.
You take care of them from the time they're little babies like this, and then you kill them?
It's not like I want to. It's just how it goes. I need to eat, and I can't exactly go pick up meat from the grocery store.
I didn't feel like this was something that needed to be explained, let alone justified. It was how people survived. It wasn't pleasant or ideal, but just like staying away from each other to stop the spread of deadly virus, it was necessary. Did she not get that? Why wasn't she saying anything?
Mallory?
I understand. I guess I just never thought about it before. It makes me a little sad. I'll be okay though. Thank you for bringing me to meet them.
Yeah, maybe I should have changed the subject. Oops! She stood up and gave the chickens a little wave goodbye and left the coop. I followed her out, shutting the gate behind us. Like, what if one day she becomes attached to a chick and we tell her, well, because we set them free into the wild, but then she sees us butchering it, then we lied to her, and then she's just gonna be more mad at us? But maybe we should have just changed the subject.
Shall we head back inside?
Oh, I got the achievement cheap. Cheap. She nodded as we strolled across the grass. I felt a little awkward when we went back into the cabin. There was an unhappy tension, but I didn't know if it was just me feeling guilty or something more. I tried to inject a little perkiness into my voice.
So, there was one more thing I really wanted to show you today. It's the most intricate and nerdy of all my systems, and by far my favorite.
She tilted her head questioningly.
Remember when I said I have fish? Well, it's a bit more complicated than that. The fish are actually part of a system I use to grow plants and food indoors. That way I can have at least some fresh things to eat in winter.
Oh?
It's called aquaponics, and it's really freaking cool. Come on, I'll show you.
She smiled softly, like she was charmed by the idea. That was a relief.
Okay.
I led Mallory through the cabin to my aquaponics room. It was sort of tucked away, and since I always kept the door closed, it was easy to miss. Ooh, look at her fish. I found myself oddly excited to show this to her. I felt almost proud as I opened the door, revealing the dim room on the other side.
Why is it so dark in here?
I know, the purple light is kind of strange. It's because those are grow lights. Their wavelength mimics the sun and gives the plants the specific red and blue light they need. It's a way of tricking them into thinking they're outdoors. Not that plants can think.
She smiled like she thought I was maybe a little bit funny, which lifted my spirits even higher. I followed her all the way into the room. It wasn't something I acknowledged often, but this was my favorite place. Caring for the plants and the fish, watching them grow and change and live, gave me a feeling of connection I didn't quite get from the outdoor garden or the hens. I didn't even feel a connection like that with other humans, no matter how many forums I joined or chats I took part in or emails I sent or received.
This is amazing.
Told ya.
I know, but I wasn't expecting so many plants. You have so much food.
I was actually expecting more fish. I felt a twinge of guilt for how upset I'd been over the potatoes she'd burned. She walked down the rows of potted vegetables and fish tanks, murmuring hello to the fish, examining the water, feeding system, and grow lights. I imagined it all through her eyes, the eyes of someone seeing something like this for the first time. It must have seemed like a mad scientist lair or something. More like a mystical sort of fairy garden forest, less evil scientist. She paused, peering more closely at one of the fish tanks.
Why are there plants growing out of the tank water?
Technically, they're not. They have their own water. It's just been cycled through the fish tank as well. That's how they get nutrients.
I pointed out the tubes that cycled the water.
It's like the circle of life, kind of. I feed the fish and they produce waste, which contains ammonium. That gets converted to nitrites and then into nitrates, which the plants can use to grow. These tubes carry the tank water up through a filter. The filter traps all the bits of waste and gunk that won't help the plants and lets the now nutrient-rich water run through and into the plant pots.
Now this game is fun and educational.
It's all a careful balance, everything working in harmony. If I feed the fish and keep the filters clean, then they're able to take care of my plants for me.
Mallory watched the fish swimming lazily back and forth, her face filled with wonder. I grabbed the container of fish food and held it out.
Here, feed them. Just take a bit and sprinkle it in.
At least we don't eat these fish. I smiled at her encouragingly.
Okay.
She took a pinch of fish food out of the container and gently sprinkled in some flakes into the tank. The fish swam excitedly towards the flakes, opening and closing their mouths. Mallory smiled and gave them some more.
They're really hungry. Looking at them feels peaceful.
Yeah.
I watched her watching the fish, and I imagined showing her how to set up a system like this from scratch. I imagined us doing it together, planting the seeds of her favorite flower or a special fruit she'd never tried, celebrating the first bud and the first harvest. Are we getting ahead of ourselves? Mallory startled me by asking very suddenly,
Who taught you all of this?
She was too close. I took a step back and bumped into some shelving behind me. I could feel my face warming up.
Well, my parents used to take care of their plants sort of like this when I was young. And then I taught myself a bunch more by reading or by trial and error.
She shook her head a little, her gaze fixed somewhere far away.
My family had nothing like this. There was one grocery store in our neighborhood. We'd have to wait in line for ages, and then the shelves would be practically empty. We had to scrounge and make do with food that was either spoiled or just plain not enough. All these systems you use, if we could have had something like this, then maybe...
My stomach felt tight. This was it. She was opening up. She was finally going to tell me where she'd come from, what kind of life she'd had, maybe even what she'd been doing out in the rain that night. I didn't feel ready. Why was my heart beating so fast? She looked so somber as her mouth came open, hesitant. And then she said,
I love that you wanted to show me all this stuff. But, what do you do for fun around here?
That is what we do for fun. We're nerds. She nudged me and gave me a cheeky little smile. Okay, so much for that idea. I forced my own smile, averting my eyes.
Yeah, I know. All work and no play. Yada yada. How about this? Let's go make some tea, get something to eat, and I'll show you my video games.
She nodded, suddenly grinning just as brightly as she'd been that morning, as if the day had brought her no sadness at all. She said goodbye to all the fish and went back out into the brightly lit hall. I followed and closed up the room behind us. We ended up spending most of the afternoon playing games on my tablet and snacking. When I showed Mallory my favorite retro game, the Idle Clicker, with just the right bounds of dopamine-inducing rewards, she told me she'd played it before with her sister when they were children. She was so excited about this, and once again her enthusiasm was infectious.
I used to hold the record for fastest speedrun of this game, you know.
You did not. There's no such thing as a speedrun of a clicker game, and if there was, that record would be held by a bot.
She's right. We teased each other like that, laughing and sharing little meaningless anecdotes, and I didn't notice her shifting closer to me, getting more comfortable. We were too comfortable. A comfortable silence took over, then Mallory leaned against me. Too nervous to move, I looked down. Don't look down. Her eyes were closed. She was falling asleep. For some reason, I let her stay there on my shoulder. I studied her, the ornate brooch she wore on her sweater dress, the cute pin she wore on her silky hair, her creamy skin and narrow shoulders, the plunging white lace bra. My throat tightened. This was not okay. Slowly, with deliberate care, I slid away from her. I used a throw cushion to lower her onto the couch, trying my best not to wake her. I placed a blanket over her. She continued to breathe deeply in and out, unmoving. According to my clock, it was only just past 7. I was surprised Mallory had fallen so deeply asleep already. She looked like she'd be there for the rest of the night. She did work hard on an injury, so let her sleep, man. Maybe I shouldn't have let her help with so many chores, I thought. But then I was getting pretty sleepy too. I crept into the kitchen as quietly as I could and made my nightly cup of herbal tea. We'd snack all afternoon, so I wasn't hungry, but that cup of tea before bed was an absolute must. Carefully, I carried my mug upstairs, settling in so as not to disturb Mallory. It wasn't long before I was dozing off, tea only half gone. My body had been warmed by the fire, which made it all too easy to drift to sleep. That night, I dreamt of the chicken coop being empty. There were only traces left behind of the hens, and their feathers were scattered everywhere on the ground. Coyotes must have spirited them away, my dream brain thought. Please don't let that happen because I moved the trap. I remember pocketing one of the feathers and walking around the woods in search of them. It was a very strange dream, unlike any other I had before. Oh no! Life is short. Play video games. Chapter 5. Maturation. I woke up to the sun shining at an unfamiliar angle through my bedroom window. I checked the time and realized I'd slept in. Not by much, but still weird. I decided I must have needed the extra sleep. I knew stress could drain body's energy, and yeah, I've been stressed over the past couple of days. But the house smelled amazing again, and my stomach clenched and unclenched in hunger. There was nothing, absolutely nothing, to be unhappy about. I got out of bed, got dressed, and made my way down the creaky staircase. Something struck me as I reached the bottom step. The chairs were tucked in at the table and the blankets were neatly folded on the couch, and I was pretty sure the floor had been swept again, and it all made me feel so much calmer than usual. I never knew how much my home's cleanliness could affect my mood.
Morning, sleepyhead. Your breakfast is waiting.
I turned around. Mallory was standing extremely close to me. I thought about stepping back, but then I forgot because her cheeks were flushing red, and I was pretty sure mine were too.
Good morning to you too. First things first, though.
I went to grab the temperature scanner and held it up between us.
Oh, right, of course.
She lifted her hair out of the way and let me scan her forehead. Yay! The scanner beeped happily. Somehow I felt even more relieved than the other times I checked and found her temperature normal. Mallory danced away from me, then spun back around. This seems like an odd combination of food. Suddenly there's a large plate of food under my nose. I grinned.
It isn't much, but I thought it would be good to have a high-calorie meal since we both worked so hard yesterday.
It didn't seem possible, but the breakfast looked even more incredible than the one she made yesterday. The plate held a rainbow of foods. Sliced red strawberries and tower golden pancakes filled with amber syrup, A stir-fried rice with orange and yellow peppers, surrounded by fresh, crisp, glistening greens and perfect soft-boiled eggs. My mouth watered. She's certainly come a long way.
I did use the last of the eggs in your fridge to make this. I hope that's okay. I went out to check the coop for more, but there were none.
Oh, goodness. Are we gonna have a hissy fit over this? I already grabbed the plate and started eating. Through a mouthful of pancakes, I mumbled an incoherent reply to her and shook my head up and down.
Sometimes it takes them a day or two, but we'll have more eggs soon.
Okay, good. We're not going to be like, roar, and then destroy things. The fastest way to your heart. She smiled and sat down across from me with her own plate. She ate her breakfast with far more elegance than I ate mine. After we'd finished breakfast, I gathered up my paltry first aid supplies so I could clean and rewrap Mallory's leg. My gaze landed on the box of disposable masks kept at the back of the drawer, the ones I've been wearing each day when medical care necessitated getting up and close and personal with her. But not when we'd been working outside, or in the aquaponics room, or when she'd sat next to me on the couch while I played my video game. I slid the drawer shut, deciding to not bother with the mask. The two of us chatted a little while I tended to a room.
So I guess I worked you too hard yesterday, huh?
What makes you say that?
You fell asleep at like 7 o'clock last night.
Mallory flushed pink again. She didn't seem sure how to respond.
It's okay. You learned a lot yesterday, and learning is hard work. I probably went a little overboard with the teaching.
No, but I enjoyed it so much.
It made me really happy to hear her say that. Once I'd finished fixing her bandages, I got up to peer outside. The sky above was blue, but there were gray clouds gathering in the distance. I decided to check the forecast. I stood at my desk waiting for the computer to boot up and connect to the web. Once it did, a number of notifications popped up, chiming cheerily. I followed them to my email inbox and glanced through my unread messages. One work update, a couple newsletters, something from a coupon service I didn't remember signing up for, and of course a bunch of hogwash forwards about the many cures my doctor didn't want me to know about. Read the spam just for fun, delete the spam. Let's read them just for fun. I clicked open one of the email forwards, smirking.
Hey Mallory, have you heard about this one weird trick for removing viral toxins?
I got an achievement for that.
Removing them from where?
It doesn't actually say, but there's a grainy picture of someone laying what looks like lasagna noodles across their stomach. So I'm assuming it's nothing to do with that. Yeah, you wouldn't believe how many of these I get. They're so stupid.
I closed out of the email and deleted it along with the others. I pulled up a weather forecast.
Partly cloudy this morning with a chance of scattered showers throughout the afternoon and overnight. And it looks like tomorrow's gonna be rainy all day.
I felt like a bit of a chump for panicking about the water. I looked up at Mallory.
Maybe there'll be enough water for a luxurious bath after all.
Oh.
I should probably do a few things outside though. Get the basic chores done before the weather turns.
I'll help.
I wasn't sure. I could tell she was sore from yesterday, and I was still worried about her leg. Also, why was she so insistent on doing so much? Because she feels bad about the fact that she kind of just waltzed onto our land. We had to help her leg. We screwed up. Well, she screwed up the potato thing. We almost set the house on fire. Broke a plate. Used too much of our water. Now she's using our medical supplies. No, she just wants to help. It's a nice thing to do when someone helps you. You help them back.
How about you just keep me company this time?
Oh, alright.
We headed outside. The sunshine was strong, but There was a chill in the air that had been present yesterday. Occasional clouds moved past the sun, casting cold shadows over the garden. A flock of geese passed over us, noisy and energized.
They're flying south to escape the coming cold. They probably have their own tropical paradise somewhere, with their own beach houses where they spend all winter sunbathing and drinking margaritas.
Those selfish geese.
Just kidding. Geese don't do that stuff. But wouldn't it be nice to go on a vacation like that?
People do.
I don't know. I've never been on a vacation.
I frowned, pausing to bend and pull up a stray dandelion poking out of the grass.
Maybe someday someone will figure out a way to stop the virus, and you'll be able to go somewhere amazing.
Not by myself, I hope.
No, definitely not by yourself.
We walked around the property, Mallory humming happily to herself while I puttered around checking the well, making sure the hens were happy and fed, yanking more dandelions out of the ground when I saw them. Pretty soon, Mallory had grabbed a bucket and started pulling weeds too. It was like she couldn't help herself. I shook my head.
That's probably enough hard labor for the day. Let's go in. I need to do some work on my computer.
Oh, not just yet. Please. I'd like to enjoy the fresh air a little while longer before the rain comes.
Ah, okay. If you're good, then I'm good.
I reached down for another clump of weeds and felt my stomach flip when I saw a big black spider clinging onto the leaves I'd pulled. I flicked my hand reflexively, which sent the weed and the creepy crawly flying across the garden.
Ugh. Stay on the alert for spiders.
Spiders are adorable.
Oh yes, I've already met a few of them. They're so helpful chasing off all the harmful bugs.
Of course, Mallory would treat spiders with the same kind of adoration any cuddly pet deserved. Yes, we are dandelion tamers. We continued pulling weeds together side by side, and I tried to keep the pace slow and casual. Despite that, and despite the heavy clouds moving in, we were both sweaty pretty soon.
Phew, I am hot. I almost want to take my sweater off.
She said this with a giggle, standing up straight to stretch her back and survey the neat-looking garden. I felt myself blush, embarrassed by the suggestion and the image my mind conjured up. Okay, we'll stop here for this episode. How will we answer this? Is she being flirty? Try to flirt back? Better avoid the subject. We'll see you next time. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. I am TitoCat. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon,